What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of Professor Layton vs. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Last time we left off questioning Darklaw and Kira, and we were talking about shades in the Eldritch Woods. Let's see if we've already read this testimony before. Live outside the realm of those who dwell within Labyrinthia, known as the Great Witch. You know what? I don't think we've pressed these yet. Let's try pressing all of these. To them, I am known as the Great Witch. Maybe we have. We'll see here in a second. Great Witch. That's right. However, I am not Bazella. The mistress to those who dwell in the Eldritch Woods is dubbed the Great Witch. Even if I wanted to be Bazella, I couldn't. As the ever-so-charming Inquisitor stated earlier, I cannot use magic. I have one question. What do you mean by live outside the realm? I definitely think we've done this before. I mean just that, Inquisitor. We truly do live in a realm separate from this town. Surely one as intelligent as yourself has worked out the answer by now, no? Perhaps. That remains to be seen, Miss Darklaw. Regardless, 'tis something we cannot discuss with anyone. But it is something that the defense should be able to prove. Almost sounds like a challenge. I definitely think I've read this before. By the way, Miss Darklaw, since you're not actually a witch, why do you continue to be called that? To answer that, I must first discuss the true identity of the Shades. Those that are put to the flames in the witch trials become Shades who live their lives in the woods.
Hold it!
So you're saying the Kira here right now, yep, Shade version. Okay, we've definitely read this before. Okay. Oh, wait. What? I don't remember this last time. Right. So in reality, the witch escaped the cage just in time to avoid the flames. To think such trickery was being used right under my beard, I truly had no idea. Even the judge was clueless about this. My sincerest apologies, my lord. The only ones privy to this information were the storyteller, myself, and a handful of Shades. It was imperative this be kept a secret from the citizens of this town. If I may be frank, I must say, I am a little relieved to hear this. I feel I carried out my role as judge of these witch trials to the best of my ability. For that, I have no regrets. However, if this means that lives were actually being saved this entire time, then I do believe the secrets and deception were worth it. Indeed. Miss Darklaw, you are saying that these chambers of fire have been nothing more than mere trickery, are you not? That is correct. All those found guilty within the witch's court lose their name, their grasp of magic, and their memory. They are then sent to spend their lives as Shades in the Eldritch Woods. And the mistress of those Shades is the Great Witch. As you can see, this girl too has become a Shade. I still cannot wrap my head around this whole situation. Now, if you don't mind, shall we get back to my testimony? So clearly we haven't pressed everything. Okay. Figures. The judge is having one heck of a time coming to grips with all this. Lady Darklaw was our venerable mistress. She assigned us our tasks. She was the Great Witch.
Hold it!
So, about these tasks, can you give us any other examples? A Shade's task must never be discussed with others. But we did read this before, what? Incidentally, do you perhaps remember when you arrived back in town to carry out your orders? Well, not really. My memory is still a little fuzzy. Didn't Kira only just recently become one of those Shade thingies? Still, I failed in my task tonight. Come to think of it, when Luke and I had our little run-in with Kira, I remember being blown clear across the marketplace, but I never saw any explosives or gunpowder. Maybe Kira was given the task of blowing you to smithereens. We've read this before. What am I missing? I am not a witch, nor am I a wandering spirit.
Hold it!
You really don't have any recollection of your old flower-selling self, do you? I don't. When a witch becomes a shade, they lose all memory of their past life. Why? And yet you still have some grasp of the concept of magic, do you not, witness? Let me spell it out for you. Magic does not exist in the Eldritch Woods. But there are actually lots of things back in the town. She'll say machines. Really huge machines, yeah. There's one that spits fire with such amazing speed. Let's skip through this if we've already read it.
Objection.
What is this now? Miss Darklaw, if I may interrupt for just a moment. This is new. But we've already pressed them before. I guess we had to press it a second time through. What is it, Inquisitor Layton? Through your testimony just now, we have all come to understand the process of how one becomes a shade. However, I was hoping you could perhaps elaborate on one additional point. Namely, what exactly is the purpose behind the shades? If you wish to know our purpose, there are certain other things you must first understand. Once you've done that, the answer should be quite clear. Isn't that right, Defender? The purpose? Rest assured you will not get the answer from me. As the saying goes, the witch is in your court. No one says that. Sounds like Darklaw's challenging me to figure this out. Challenge accepted. Except I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, they just brought me right back? Damn it. Okay, I have to use a hint coin. I don't know what to do. Present on this statement one true purpose for the shades that dwell within the Eldritch Woods. Oh, what? Sir. Hold on, okay, I gotta read through these spells again. A circle of flame, 1 meter. Nope, pointless. From the first case. To be here from the second or third case. Anything the caster touches to vanish. Caster into gold. Transmute the closest target within range. Amalia summons forth a magical familiar from the shadows. Although it possesses a physical form, it is completely weightless. That's possible, Famalia, that could be it. Godor for the portal. Those who hear the incantation lose all consciousness. Okay. Summons forth a great fire dragon for the caster to command, responsible for the legendary fire that lit the town ablaze so many years ago. Okay, I've got a couple options. I can go with one of these old spells that they've given me before, or I can go with the new ones, which would be, Feynfall and Grandworm. Honestly, I don't really feel like any of these are very good options for me to present. I could try Grandworm, but... Are they saying this is what the purpose of the shades are?
Objection!
I got really lucky. I only had 1 health left. I don't even know how far back I would have gone. Something that doesn't exist. I have a feeling no one is going to like the answer I'm about to give, and it'll probably end up shaking this town to its core. But I've got to tell them. The truth has to come out. Since I arrived here at Labyrinthia, there's been no shortage of really strange events. Ignace, Demir, Godor, Goldor, and now Grandworm. The mere command of magic is in itself a crime, is it not? In this town, witches are arrested and made to participate in witch trials. They are then sentenced to death by fire. But none of those witches actually died. That supposed death by fire wasn't real. And neither is magic. It doesn't really exist. What are you saying, Defender? The Eldritch Woods apparently contain some rather large machines, unlike anything that exists within Labyrinthia. Machines that emit fire and produce large plumes of smoke. To top it all off, the citizens of Labyrinthia are not able to see said machines. It sounds like nothing more than magic. Yes, that's exactly it, Your Honor. Miss Darklaw. Magic doesn't really exist in this town. That's the answer, isn't it? Magic does not... What utter nonsense! It seems we have finally arrived at the stunning conclusion. The secret behind Labyrinthia. What? So instead of magic, they have futuristic technology that lets them go through walls and turn people into gold? I don't know, that's kind of weird. Whoa. Whoa. Order, I say. I say order! What is the meaning of this? It means that all of the magic you've seen in this town was nothing more than an illusion created and put into motion by the Shades. But Defender, the witches, we have clearly seen them use magic. Let us take a moment to think carefully about the systems employed by the Shades. Systems? What is essential in order for a witch to use magic? The witch must possess a talia magica and must say an incantation in order to cast a spell. And the spells able to cast are determined by the scepter's magic gems. Now, what do you think is the purpose of placing such requirements on the use of magic? What do you mean, purpose? These requirements are not here to allow the user to cast magic. Rather, the reality is they are there to inform the Shades of who should be using magic. It is possible that witches were always being closely observed by Shades. That's why they donned these robes, to appear hidden until they were needed to create magic. Oh, the Shades have been infiltrating the town the entire time! That's... okay. Create? Indeed. There are all kinds of spells within this tome. It would be quite troublesome if they were simply allowed to use any spell at will. It would make the Shades' job that much more difficult for sure. But that would mean people have to follow people around with the scepters all day long. Precisely so. That is why it was imperative that certain restriction be placed on the use of magic. You're referring to the Talia Magica, right, Professor? Of course. No wonder the scepter could contain only 2 magic gems. Then there's the incantation. What would happen if a witch could simply whisper the incantation quietly to herself, or not even say it at all? That'd be so cool. I'd be casting spells all day long, and no one would ever see it coming. Maya, we spent an entire trial proving that you weren't a witch, remember? If the witches didn't give some sort of signal, then there would be no way for the Shades to know when to cast the spell. Right you are, Mr. Wright. The incantations were a way of telling the Shades when the witch was ready to use magic. What on earth? Never did I think these requirements could have such a purpose. Now, let's think back to the previous events leading up to today that have involved magic. Our first encounter with magic was the use of the spell Ignaze a few nights ago. A spell like this was nothing more than a flame spewed from a machine being used by the Shades. Then that means Demir. A spell that makes the caster disappear? No doubt about it. It must have been this robe. Next is the incident with Goldor, the spell that transmuted me into a gold statue. While I understand this may sound a bit absurd, I can only surmise that the Shades created a gold statue in my image, took me and left it in my place, the instant the incantation was uttered. Honestly, magic sounds way more realistic than this absurdity. Professor, it's no more absurd than anything else that's happened so far. No, it's pretty absurd. We can therefore conclude that all of the magic in Labyrinthia was created in a similar vein. What do you say to that, Miss Darklaw? I'd expect nothing less from you, Inquisitor Layton. At any given time, there were between 5 and 10 witches in town. All of the witches were accompanied by shades at all times. I guess if there are only a couple witches around, it wouldn't be too difficult, but okay. It was easier than you would think. You see, the shades living in the Eldritch Woods total in the hundreds. It was simply a matter of having each of the shades operate in shifts in order to watch over each of the witches within the town. I must say, Lady Darklaw, that is quite a number of shades. 'Twas not only those who fell victim to the flames that were turned into shades, but their victims, too, were made permanent residents of the Eldritch Woods. Ah, then... those two shady thieves from before were turned into shades. Ah, yes. Which wait, does that mean... No, the alchemist is still dead, right? I think the alchemist is still dead. You mean Robs and Muggs? Despite their dubious appearance, those two were a couple of my best shades. Shady thieves turned into shades. The stuff writes itself. I cannot believe what I've heard. However, there is still one thing I do not understand just yet. And what would that be? As has just been explained, we have established that there is no possibility of magic being real. But, replacing me with the gold statue to give the illusion of transmutation, for example, while it sounds simple enough, no it doesn't. I myself, and presumably also Miss Fey, have no recollection of this replacement actually taking place. Well yeah, more memory wiping, it happens all the time. That's right. The professor got all bling-blingy before I could even bat an eye. It begs the question, how and when was that statue created, let alone used to replace me? That is true. The same goes for Godor. It's supposed to create a portal between two green-colored walls. Perhaps that is exactly why the spell can only work on green walls, Mr. Wright. Still, it'd be impossible for the shades to get those portals ready so quickly. I agree. If we take a moment to think, we can see that all these spells have one strange thing in common. Yes, indeed. Almost as if some time between the start and end of the incident was unaccounted for. Furthermore, any memory I might have had regarding the incident seems to have simply disappeared in the process. I've got it, Nick! It's just like what happened to Kira. She's got absolutely no memory of her life in Labyrinthia before the trial, right? Yes, I do not remember this Kira you speak of. And, oh yeah, when you really think about it, doesn't it seem super weird how the shades are able to return to town if they complete their tasks? You're right. I mean, the townsfolk are bound to remember some things about them, right? Like how Miss Kira here threw a major hissy fit in court and was barbecued for being a witch. Too soon, Phoenix, to put it into those terms, even though she wasn't. Eloquently put, Mr. Wright. Hence, we cannot yet conclude that this entire illusion was primarily accomplished through the use of machinery. Simply put, there must have been some way of affecting the memories of all those within the confines of this town. Missing time and lost memories? Now that is interesting, Inquisitor. You are correct. There is, in fact, a secret that lies within the depths of the Eldritch Woods. Something that the people of this town cannot see. Something that can rob people of their time and memories. 'Tis the very thing that connects all of what you had heard tonight. 'Tis a secret of monumental proportions. Let me guess. 'Tis a secret that cannot be revealed by the mistress of the Eldritch Woods, is that right? Yeah! An excellent deduction, Defender. We're already at this point in this... Why don't you just say it? What's the point of holding secrets now? It makes no sense. Come on now. Witches' souls wander astray within the Eldritch Woods. Until tonight, I thought this nothing but a mere fairy tale told to children. But it has become clear that a seemingly large organization lies within that forest. The Witch's Court is the border between this world and the other world. Then, that means, in this world, you're Labyrinthia's High Inquisitor, while also being mistress to the shades in the other world. Otherwise known as the Great Witch. May I intervene for just a moment, Mr. Wright? Sure. In all honesty, there is still something that sticks out as a little odd. Particularly in Miss Darklaw's previous testimony. Did you say the previous testimony? I'd already pushed that out of my head. There was one vital truth that we managed to take away from that testimony. You mean that magic does not truly exist in Labyrinthia? Indeed, quite the vital, albeit shocking, truth. However, there is one more truth hidden within that same testimony. I must have checked the court record more times than I can count, but I didn't find a single other contradiction. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Wright? When there is no evidence left, we have but one more weapon at our disposal with which to uncover the truth. I've got it, Nick! Remember, in a witch trial, you can cross-examine two witnesses at the same time. That's right, I completely forgot. Being able to have a look at two testimonies side by side is bound to turn up a contradiction somewhere. And that contradiction should provide us with much needed clue. I'm not entirely sure where the professor is going with this, but I believe in his judgment. Besides, if we're going to blow this case wide open, it's got to be worth a shot. Very well, we will now take a closer look at Lady Darklaw's previous testimony. This is it, Miss Darklaw's previous testimony. There is a glaring contradiction between this piece of testimony and the others. Ready yourself, Mr. Wright. Just tell me what it is! And it's been around 22 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. So stay tuned for the next one, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!